the biggest club in all of England. Yes, that is what Manchester United once were. But what really happened? They dominated for years, won countless trophies, and remained an unstoppable force in England. The club's dominance started during the era of Sir Matt Busby and his infamous Busby Babes. And then came Alex Ferguson, who took the club from being an average club in England to the biggest club in England. But nowadays, Manchester United find themselves a complete shadow of their former self, a fallen titan struggling to find its way back to glory. Teams that once trembled at the thought of playing Manchester United now see them as a broken team.
Everybody here is underperforming. No matter what the circumstances, we are underperforming.
How did it all come to this? Manchester United Football Club, founded in 1878, spent decades finding its footing before rising to the top under the legendary Sir Matt Busby. Taking charge of the club, Busby built a super team famously known as the Busby Babes, who delivered several major trophies and brought glory to the club. However, tragedy struck in 1958 when the Munich air disaster claimed the lives of many of the club's biggest stars.
Snow is blanketing the wreckage of the BEA Elizabethan, in which 7 Manchester United footballers, 8 journalists and 6 others lost their lives.
This devastating event left Manchester United in a difficult position, struggling to compete for the trophies they had once won with ease. Then came Sir Alex Ferguson, the man who would take Manchester United to the greatest heights. However, what if I told you that Ferguson also struggled in his first few seasons as a Manchester United coach? Yes, he was even on the verge of being sacked. However, Ferguson found his mojo and it all started clicking for the club. Ferguson built a super team with players like Eric Cantona, Ryan Giggs and Peter Schmeichel, and the class of '92 featuring David Beckham, Paul Scholes and the Neville brothers added fresh energy and homegrown talent. By 1994, Ferguson's team had won back-to-back Premier League titles, along with FA Cups. United was no longer just a club, it was a force of nature. However, probably the most dominant season by the men in red came under the same man in the year 1999, when Manchester United went on an unstoppable run, ending with the infamous treble season. They won the Premier League, FA Cup. As the 2000s began, the club entered another era of dominance. With fresh talent at Old Trafford, including Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, Sir Alex Ferguson led the team to win trophy after trophy. The 2007-08 season was particularly special. With Ronaldo scoring 42 goals in all competitions, United won both the Premier League and the Champions League. The squad, featuring the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, and Carlos Tevez, was one of the finest the Premier had ever seen. After 26 incredible years at Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson decided it was time to end his managerial career.
It's a thank you to Manchester United, not just the directors, not just the medical staff, the coaching staff, the players, the supporters, it's all of you. You have been the most fantastic experience of my life. Thank you.
Despite nearing the end, his passion for success never faded. In the 2013 season, his final campaign, Ferguson was determined to reclaim the Premier League title after narrowly losing it to Manchester City the year before. The signing of Robin van Persie played a key role, with the Dutch striker scoring 26 league goals to lead United to glory. Ferguson retired as the most successful manager in football history, leaving behind an unmatched legacy that included 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League trophies, and countless other honours. But this is where the trouble all began, because after Ferguson left, Manchester United lost their identity. It started with Ferguson's successor, David Moyes, who had been hand-picked by Ferguson.
He says, I'm retiring. And I said, yeah, when? You know, because he was never retiring, was he? And he says, next week. And his next words were, and you're the next Manchester United manager. So I didn't get a chance to say yes or no. I was told I was the next Manchester United manager.
The chosen one arrived from Everton with a reputation for steadying ships, but soon found himself steering a Titanic. Moyes stumbled from the start, unable to harness the firepower of United's star-studded squad. Players like Wayne Rooney and Robin van Persie seemed lost under his direction. His signings, Marouane Fellaini and Juan Mata, failed to turn the tide. United slumped to 7th place, their worst finish in decades, and Moyes was shown the door before he could even complete the season. This gave Ryan Giggs, a club legend, the role of interim boss. Giggs would finish the season for Manchester United, allowing them to find their replacement in Louis van Gaal, who had just finished the World Cup with the Netherlands. Unlike Moyes, Van Gaal did win a trophy, even though it was just the FA Cup. But most of the criticism he faced came because of his boring tactics that left fans and players frustrated. Despite spending big on players like Angel Di Maria and Radamel Falcao, although the latter's spell was hindered by injuries, Van Gaal lasted only 2 seasons before he was sacked. In came Jose Mourinho, a decorated manager with a proven record of winning trophies at the clubs he had managed in the past. True to form, he delivered the Europa League and the League Cup in his debut season, reigniting hope among the United faithful. But Mourinho's fire eventually burned too hot. His defensive tactics frustrated fans used to attacking football. Despite big money signings like Pogba, Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, Mourinho's team never mounted a serious title challenge. Public clashes with players like Pogba made headlines, creating a toxic atmosphere. By December 2018, with the team languishing in mediocrity and tensions boiling over, Mourinho's time was up. Mourinho was replaced by club legend, the baby-faced assassin Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who had endeared himself to the fans with his heroics in the 1999 treble-winning season. The former striker, adored by fans, brought a fresh wave of optimism as caretaker manager, even defeating Paris Saint-Germain in a miraculous Champions League comeback. United rewarded him with the permanent job, and while there were moments of brilliance, trophies eluded him. The team reached several semi-finals in the Europa League final in 2021, only to fall short each time. Solskjaer's signings would probably be one of his highlights. He was backed with a financial war chest and brought in players like Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, and Jadon Sancho. Harry Maguire especially caught the attention of the world with his record-breaking €80 million transfer fee for a defender, but he became one of the most criticised players under the manager. After ending the 2021 season, with the squad finally showing signs of improvement, finishing in second place in the league below Manchester City, Solskjaer reinforced his squad with Cristiano Ronaldo in the biggest transfer of that summer, sparking hope for a new era. But cracks began to show. A humiliating 5-0 loss to Liverpool in October 2021 was the final straw. The fairy tale ended and Ole was sent packing. Former midfielder Michael Carrick took charge for the next 3 games before the appointment of Ralf Rangnick as interim manager until the end of the season. At this point, frustration had taken hold at United. The club needed something to restore their hope. Was the issue simply the head coaches? That was the big question, especially with so many managers coming and going. If the problem was indeed with leadership, the arrival of Ole's replacement, Erik ten Hag, fresh off a successful stint at Ajax, promised to be the turning point for Manchester United.
When you make it like this, sorry to say this, but then you don't have any knowledge about football and about managing a football team.
But all that hope came crashing down after Ten Hag's first and second seasons at the club. Despite more splurging on big money signings like Antony for €86 million, the highest in the club's history, he in particular became one of United's worst players as they continued to struggle. Ronaldo, the biggest personality in the team, stole the headlines when he publicly criticised Ten Hag and United for lacking ambition.
Since the Sir Alex Ferguson left, I saw not evolution in the club. The progress was zero.
Leading to his banishment from the team, he ultimately ended up going to the Saudi League. However, the only positive thing that Manchester United fans saw during Ten Hag's tenure was the change in ownership, with billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his company Ineos acquiring a big stake in the club and taking control away from the Glazers family, who had run the club for decades to the fans' discontent. Under Ineos, Ten Hag bought himself more time when he beat the odds to defeat Manchester City in the 2024 FA Cup final. However, the writing was on the wall. United's problems were bigger than him. A few weeks into the 2024-2025 season, he was shown the door and replaced by the young and ambitious Ruben Amorim from Sporting. Any manager that takes control of Manchester United should know what he is getting into, and it is unclear whether Amorim knew that. A few weeks after joining the club, he's already under immense pressure as he finds himself a victim of losing games and producing bad displays on the pitch. Man United now find themselves at the bottom of the barrel, and the question remains, will the club ever go back to its glory days? The club has clearly lost all its respect, with teams now happy to play Manchester United, teams that would once tremble at the thought. Even players like Victor Osimhen, who would have once jumped at the chance to play for Manchester United, now reject the club without second thoughts. This is the sad reality of Manchester United today.